Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my co-writer commentary Ashton, and this is our Friday night Smackdown review. And goddamn, what a fucking episode. Alright, Smackdown went retro. We got plenty of fucking recaps from past Smackdowns, but in the present, you got Bianca Belair smoking them. You got the return of Jimmy Uso in the latest installment of As the Samoans Turn. And it was compelling goddamn shit tonight. I loved it. I was on the edge of my seat thinking, man, is Jimmy going to get that ass beat? But I think what they ended up doing, or what I thought they ended up doing, and God knows my judgment's a little impaired tonight, but what I think they were doing is far more compelling to me. And one thing that I've been mixed on, Cesaro is finally getting his one-on-one World Championship match at WrestleMania Backlash. I personally thought they could have dragged that out to even SummerSlam, really, if you played your cards right. But enough about me. Let's get to the other face in the room. Ashton, how'd you feel about SmackDown tonight?
I felt the exact same way. I enjoyed this episode. There were a couple things that annoyed me about it, but it was kind of your usual fuck WWE, fuck Vince McMahon, fuck Bruce Pritchard type shit than like any individual performances that really particularly annoyed me, which is nice, honestly. Like, obviously it's still annoying, but it's nice to be angry only at management and not any particular talents. It's not something I can ever really say about an NXT review.
That's certainly true. And before we really get into the deep of things, a very happy birthday to my favorite mathematician and yours, Mark Jonovitz. So, Mark, happy birthday, my friend. You are absolutely wonderful. We here at TWitWoW love your face. And with that said, let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And, Ashton, how hot is your kitchen tonight, huh?
I only really have one nitpick, and it's only a nitpick because it's literally just one simple booking decision that I hated.
Okay, what do we got?
Carmella beating Ruby.
Yeah, dude, samesies in my tweet. I listed 5 things. That's a lot. And one of them was Ruby deserves better.
I saw.
And goddamn, was I right then, you're right now, and we're right forever. Suck it, WWE. But yeah, she absolutely should have won that match. Look, I think any new title reign invites interesting possibilities. You know what else is an interesting possibility? If Riot Squad would ever win the fucking women's tag team titles. But it's just a shame that this is where they are on the card. Because really, I think both, we've talked about how Liv Morgan's improved. I think both could be viable women's champions, and they are so far from either title at this point. It's quite sad. All right, as far as me, yeah, I guess my only nitpick, again, is really just a personal thing. I didn't want Cesaro to get his title shot this early. I honestly was kind of hoping, given the events of tonight, that Rollins would find a way to get out of the match. This way we'd have 2 world title triple threat matches at WrestleMania Backlash, because, you know, on the Raw side we have McIntyre versus Lashley versus Braun. And on the SmackDown side, you could have had Reigns, Rollins, Cesaro. Now you tell me, right?
I was going to say, they gave us the one we didn't want, and they're not giving us the one that we would actually be pretty happy with.
Exactly, because then you drag it out, because you can say, well, Cesaro still hasn't, like, straight up beat Rollins, even though WrestleMania he totally did. But in Rollins' mind, you know, the weather delay, all that crap. You get the triple threat. You protect Cesaro, then Money in the Bank. I've even gone as far as to say I wouldn't mind Cesaro winning Money in the Bank so long as the Friday after he cashes into Roman's face for SummerSlam, does a clean cash in. But either way, you could have stretched this out. I'm still wondering. I mean, we've got a week to go, so I doubt that they're going to make any significant changes. The next question then becomes if they're really committed to doing it at WrestleMania Backlash. Like, is it going to be a one and done, or is the finish going to be something that opens Cesaro to a lengthier journey, which is what I'm personally hoping for. So we'll have to see, but a lot to say about the main event developments tonight. Anything else you want to air out in this first segment?
Yeah, the only other thing is that I am just really ready to be done with everything involving Nia Jax and Reginald.
All right, yeah, absolutely. The title reign, look, bro, I'd say it was played out, but we didn't enjoy this to begin with, so that just, that seems a bit dishonest, So yeah, whether it's Tamina and Natalia, obviously Riot Squad, my women's tag team champions forever. But you know, again, I have said I don't mind Tamina getting this nod. Let's just get it over with already. Let's do it. So with that said, let us get right into our Friday night SmackDown review, and we linger on this a little bit because we do a retro SmackDown intro. We get a recap.
Yeah, that was another little nitpick of mine. I feel like the structure of this show was fucked.
Yeah, dude, the recaps didn't seem to have any rhyme or reason to me. But then again, obviously, I'm watching the show under very different circumstances tonight. But it just seemed like a lot of recap stuff. And it's not that they didn't have enough current content. I just felt like the ordering of it was a bit off to me. So I get what you mean about
the order is exactly what I want to complain about, though, because we opened the show with Roman, Jimmy, and Jay. And, like, the return of Jimmy Uso, which is in and of itself, it's a big deal. It's cool. But what I hated was the match that we both thought was going to main event this show, Rollins versus Cesaro, and then the added stipulation of if Cesaro wins, he gets added, or he gets the title match with Roman. They put that on first. Like, as soon as the opening talking segment was over, we got that match immediately. I think you and I both thought that was going to main event this show, and frankly, it probably should have, because they used Teddy Long to make that announcement. He could have said, that'll main event this show, that'll happen later tonight. Because we should have gotten some kind of clusterfuck opening with everyone coming out. Because how are you going to have Teddy Long on your show and not have him announce a tag team match? What?
Yeah, he didn't do that until like later with Sami Zayn in a more intimate backstage setting.
Yeah, that had to be in the opening segment. They could have opened the show with that. It would have been great.
Yeah, I agree with you though, man. I want to kind of seize upon the whole like not main eventing thing, because what I thought they were going to do was it was going to be like a kayfabe injury to Cesaro, and is he going to be 100% for the main event tonight? And honestly, I thought with those conditions, Cesaro might even lose. I didn't expect them to like shoot their shot so quickly and have it open the show, and you know, obviously Cesaro going over, but we'll get into like all of that because there are extraneous circumstances to that. But I agree, man. This absolutely should have main evented the show. You got the babyface getting their long-awaited title shot, but you know what? I think this is WWE kind of rushing through things because next week, SmackDown is the go-home show before Backlash. So I think you got to, you know, zip past A, B, and C and get straight to D, you know?
Yeah, which means that not tomorrow, but the following Saturday, we've got preview predictions at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, we do. All right. So, yeah, just get back. So we kind of recap the first ever SmackDown main event. Then we get a recap of Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. And then we get Roman Reigns' promo. Says that, you know, he always gives the people what he wants or what they want. He said Bryan didn't want to be here. If he did, he would have acknowledged him. And, you know, he more or less gets around to who's going to take Bryan's place. And Jimmy Uso's music hits, and Jimmy Uso is back in the fold. Ashton, I'm going to hand it to you straight away, brother. How did you feel about Jimmy Uso's return? Because I popped for this when I heard that music. I was like, oh, yeah. We're doing this. How did you feel? I was
definitely very happy to see Jimmy back. I feel like we've been asking about where Jimmy Uso is for like 6 months now. It's crazy. He's been gone for long. He did show up a couple times during the Roman versus Jay feud, mostly to cost Jay matches by throwing in the white towel and then getting locked in a guillotine so that Jay could quit. He actually ended up showing the audience. Was that in this first segment or was that at the end of the show? That was at the end of the show, I think.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
So yeah, he was gone for a while even before that though too, and then Jay came back first and he made a brief appearance to, you know, like I said, cost Jay those 2 matches, and then he went away again and we haven't really seen him since. So it was really cool to see him here, and I really, given how absolutely garbage the state of the current SmackDown tag division is, just because of the fact that the one really genuinely great team that could challenge for tag titles is a heel team. And the other, you know, the only other really good team I would say is the former champions, and they probably won't win them right back this quickly. I was hoping that we would get the Usos kind of doubling as babyface tag team championship contenders, and then also at the same time helping Roman in like his main events, just as a way to kind of show that like these aren't bad guys. Like they're still good guys. They still understand what's the difference between right and wrong. They just have a blind spot, and that's their family. I think that could have been a really cool story, and they might even still go there. I don't know. After tonight, it feels less so. We'll see. But I was really hoping for that because, man, the Usos being the next tag team champions, beating the Old Dogs, who I think was actually on next after the Cesaro Rollins match, but we'll get to that later. Beating the Old Dogs and then holding those titles as sort of, bring it on everybody kind of like tweener champions would have been so ace to me. You could have had the Street Profits go after him. You could have had the Mysterios go after him. My personal favorite team to beat them for those titles, and the team that I still wish could somehow just transcend babyface and heel alignments to still manage to get a shot and beat the Old Dogs for the tag titles. Alpha Academy could be an amazing match between them and the Usos, and that was kind of what I was hoping just when this first segment aired. And then a little later on in the night when Jimmy kind of teased like he wants, to maybe keep the world title on Roman, but also have the Usos be tag team champions right next beside him too would be cool. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. How about you?
Man, it's funny because if I'm being truthful with everybody, I went through two immediate reactions upon Jimmy Uso returning. The first was, oh, wow, they're doing this? Like, nice. But then immediately after, I'm like, oh no, Jey Uso's push. Because, I've really actually been enjoying him as a singles act. And you know what? I have to congratulate WWE. I mean, God, I can shit on you for so many legitimate reasons outside the company. But the booking on SmackDown, particularly in the main event scene with people that I'm kind of sure you want to make main eventers, has been stellar. They've sold me on the Jey Uso project. I feel like I've been sold for a while, but, it took me a little bit to get there. But hearing that music again and knowing Jimmy was back, and I'm happy he's back, and I love the Usos as a tag team, but I kind of want to see Jey finish his story. And I will say this, like you, I had my own conclusions after the main event segment that I don't think Jay's single story that I'm hoping is happening, I can't guarantee because I really don't feel comfortable guaranteeing anything with this company, at least anything good. I feel like that story is going to continue because I feel like Jimmy has come back not necessarily less as a tag partner, because I do think we will see the Usos tag, obviously, but I think he's come back in a broader sense as the angel on Jey Uso's shoulder. Like that little jolt to his conscience, not following Roman so easily these days. And I don't know if that's kind of the narrative function he's serving while we're building potentially to a Jey Uso Roman Reigns matchup. I don't mind that either. So Jimmy being back definitely makes things interesting, and I'm loving just how this story with Roman Reigns just being absolutely just ridiculous right now and obsessed with leading the family and this and that, and Jey Uso's development as a single star. I'm loving everything about it. I think Jimmy only adds to it.
I really love the Usos as a tag team, and I even just said in the Discord that I think that the Usos are a better version of the Briscoe brothers. But at the same time, it's a little weird that WWE is kind of implying that a guy with a history of DUIs is going to be someone else's moral compass.
Yeah, but then again, brother, when you think about who this company actively platforms, it's not the biggest leap in my mind.
Yeah.
All right. After that, we get Cesaro interrupting, says nobody can replace Daniel Bryan. And then he says, Roman, I'll deal with you later because right now I got to deal with Seth Rollins. And then Rollins attacks. And they really make it a point that Cesaro's arm and shoulder gets compromised in the attack. And, we go when Teddy Long, to your point, he comes out, says, hey, you win, you get this match, this one-on-one match, Cesaro versus Rollins. Cesaro beats you, Seth. He gets his shot. That's what I was trying to say. Cesaro will get his shot at WrestleMania Backlash. And Rollins, and I will say, I kind of give this a nitpick. Rollins rightfully asks, what do I get if I win? And I feel like that's actually a fair point, honestly. It's yes, he lost to WrestleMania. I 100% acknowledge that, as I acknowledge our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. But I think also, his name still has a lot of value to me. And, I feel like if you were to give him a number one contenders match just because he is Seth Rollins, honestly, I'd buy it. I'd buy it. So I feel like that was a legitimate qualm that Rollins had. That was that whole segment until
so basically, Teddy should have just been like, same thing. If you win, you get the title shot instead.
Yeah, and then Seth could have been all like, damn right I do. I'm Seth freaking Rollins.
And then he loses anyway, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. So
dude, at this point, we all knew Cesaro was winning. Cesaro ended up winning anyway. You could have been, you could have gone all the way. You could have been like, Seth, if you win, Cesaro must leave SmackDown.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Because he didn't even give Seth anything, I wasn't entirely convinced at first that Cesaro was going to win. Because I thought they were going to main event the show. They were going to have dramatic build-up, and then, dream deferred kind of thing. What they ended up doing, again, we'll get into it more because it comes into a cohesive whole at the end of the show. So what did you think about the rematch, Cesaro-Rollins here?
I barely watched it, honestly. It was kind of on in the background for me. I wasn't super paying attention to it.
You know what, man? No judgment. We all love each other here. It wasn't a bad match. I think they had some great callbacks to their WrestleMania match. For example, I know Cesaro at one point, he grabs Seth's legs, and Seth's grabbing onto the rope. Now, as a babyface, he used to do like that like jumping enziguri or whatever to the back of the head when he'd get pulled from the ropes. Here, Cesaro pulls him away successfully, is about to go for a swing. Rollins is looking to turn it into a roll-up like he did at Mania, so I thought this sequence was a good Mania callback. Cesaro remembered that, and he knelt down for a pin attempt. I really like that. It was a nice continuity.
The one spot I remember from this, and I loved McAfee actually knowing that Seth was going to transition it into the next move, was the superplex into the Falcon Arrow. Because he did the superplex, and I heard McAfee go, into, before Seth even stood up. Like, he just knew. You can tell that he was, like, either a fan of the show, or at the very least, he did his homework, and he knows the shit that goes on in these matches. I loved it.
We stand the Giga Chad in this household.
Damn right.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And great back and forth there. That was a spot that happened and looked great. Then it gets to the outside. Seth is a very pissy boy. I'll tell you, he is very mad about things.
Dude, do you remember when Seth Rollins had his own little faction of fuckboys and he like beat one of them out and the other one turned on him and just disappeared from television forever?
The way you said every word in that sentence made me giggle inside and outside. It just made me giggle everywhere. Yeah, I remember. Those were good times.
That's my way of saying, where the fuck is Buddy Murphy?
Yeah, dude. I'm proud of you for taking the scenic route to that sentence. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly on some real shit. Because if you
remember, Murphy was briefly Aaliyah Mysterio's boyfriend. And then he rejoined Seth out of fucking nowhere and then proceeded to disappear again.
Lower card acts are the perfect mirror into the WWE rating team. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised he wasn't a part of that latest slew of releases, honestly.
Yeah,
and then,
same.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not even dating Bliss anymore. She's with some washed-up, has-been, one-hit wonder singer.
Yeah. You know what, though? Like, if he would have been released, the more I think about it, I don't think I would have wanted him in AEW or New Japan. Something tells me it would have been a really good fit for Impact. I could, like, Buddy Murphy, X-Division champion, sounds pretty fucking dope to me. But yeah, didn't happen. He's still with this company, and they're just not using him. And speaking of not using, thank you for reminding me of something. I guess I, too, have another nitpick that I just thought of, and I can't believe I thought of it in this state of all states. We didn't get an Aleister Black vignette tonight.
No, we did not.
Wow. How did I remember that? Holy shit. But see, I guess it goes to show. When Aleister Black is not on my TV, I take notice.
Yes.
I bet other people do. Vince McAssface.
He doesn't.
Fuck.
That's the problem. He forgot about him.
You know why? Because he committed the sin of aging exceedingly. Suck less. I'm sorry. I know my energy's all over the place. Please bear with me. We're probably only going to be like another 40 minutes, folks. It's all right. It's all right.
We're not going to go another 40 minutes. We better fucking not. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, the match was good. Ultimately, Seth again, which is what started this whole discourse, a very pissy boy pushing both Usos. Hey, I got this. I didn't ask for your help. I'm Seth freaking Rollins. I just feel like he says that like every 5 minutes. He carries a mirror around with him and he screams it in there, wondering where his life went wrong. But yeah, they didn't take kindly to that. Jimmy Uso super kicking Seth at the next Friday and gets him back in the ring. Jay is like, yo, what are you doing? It was because Jay knows, right? Like, he knows what happens with this shit. He has been abused enough where it is ingrained, and he's just looking at Jimmy like, oh, Us, what did you do? We're screwed. Cesaro hits the neutralizer, gets the pin. That makes for a very unhappy tribal chief because he didn't want any of Cesaro. I don't give a fuck what he says.
I mean, dude, if you think about it, him trying to get rid of Daniel Bryan was not only him trying to get rid of a potential contender that might have been able to beat him, it was also weakening Cesaro's chances because Bryan always had Cesaro's back whenever one of the Usos fucked with him.
Yeah, exactly. So Roman was trying to do everything. He took out Bryan, he wanted to weaken Cesaro, and maybe even just psych out Cesaro. Like, hey, are you sure you want this? Because look what I just did to your best friend. So, yeah, great points all around, good sir. After that, we get Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns backstage. Now, I know a lot of people have been looking forward to Seth and Roman as these particular iterations of each other, interact. Yeah, exactly. So how did you feel about it?
Wait, when did they interact? Backstage?
Yeah. Did you miss this?
Yeah, I think I did.
Seth, as you can imagine,
there was a point early on in this show that I had to hit the bathroom, so I probably missed it during that.
That's fair, man. I got you. So Seth is pretty much pissed. He's like, look, you and I, we're cool with this and that. So it's interesting that Seth's heel character, like you'd think he would be just completely 100% on his bullshit. He actually does still acknowledge Roman,
tribal chief.
The
vicinity of baby faces.
That is true. It's a real problem for him. But he acknowledges to Roman, like, hey, you're the tribal chief. We're good. But they cost me that match. And I love Roman's response here because he's like, look, I understand where you're coming from. But by them screwing you, you also screwed me. Because of your screw up, I got to defend the title at WrestleMania Backlash now. Because of your loose ends, I got to tie up those loose ends now. And, Seth is like, well, what about your cousins? And then Roman's like, well, about my cousins, let me handle that. Seth is like, all right. See, I was hoping this segment would germinate into something more that would ultimately lead to Seth getting added to the match, right? Because you have the claim now of, like, again, in Seth's mind, you still haven't beaten me straight up because the weather helped you the first time and a super kick to the face helped you the second time, and that's far more explicit. You don't deserve a world title match because you still haven't proven anything to me. And Roman, you may be the tribal chief, but I've got your number, which I think he does. I think if we were to look at a win-loss record, I'm hoping that Seth does legitimately have Roman's number, or at least has the edge on him. And you get that triple threat for WrestleMania Backlash. Still think Cesaro Roman is rushed, but we'll see where Seth kind of falls next week. That's another thing, too, because I can't imagine he's not going to be on the show. So I'll be interested to see what happens with him. But yeah, very cool interaction between Roman and Seth. I enjoyed it. Then what we got after this, at least according to my notes, another classic SmackDown recap, Booker T and Stone Cold, the whole grocery store segment. Then we get Teddy Long, Sonya Deville, and Sami Zayn. Thoughts on this?
Wait, did you say Booker T?
Well, no, I kind of zipped through because they did a Booker T Stone Cold grocery store recap of Retro SmackDown, and then I said Teddy Long, Sonya Deville, and Sami Zayn backstage.
Can you just go over what they said, dude? I need a memory spark here.
Well, pretty much Teddy and
I won, and I can't remember this shit. It happened 2 hours ago.
Yeah, it's, I won't say concerning. I mean, look, we've all been kind of dealing with a lot of stuff. But, so I got you. It's fine. Teddy more or less thanks Sonya for having him on. Sonya's like, Adam Pearce isn't here tonight. And I know
is this the one where Sammy was telling them about how there's, like, this huge conspiracy against him?
Well, I mean, he always mentions a conspiracy. In this context, he's actually happy to see Teddy Long because he's an outside man fighting corporate power, according to Sammy. And he's like, because you're outside, you're not biased. So he's trying to angle to get an Intercontinental Championship match, a match for his Intercontinental Championship, according to Sammy, against Apollo Crews tonight. Then Teddy goes to the whole thing. Well, Sammy, I'll do you one better. Tonight you can go one-on-one with The Undertaker. And Sammy's like, I wasn't proud of that because he's retired, Teddy. He's retired. Like, Sammy kind of like gently nudging him like, hey, man, cut the shit. Just give me my Intercontinental title match. And then Teddy mentions that, Sammy's going to be in a tag team match. And Sammy doesn't really like that because I think they said that he was going to face, like, Big E and Kevin Owens and, like, all these. But at first he mentions only a few people, and then it becomes the 10-man tag. And then Sammy's like, well, who are my partners going to be? You name 5 people. It's 5 against 2. Because you mentioned, he either mentioned Corbin or Apollo. Oh, yeah, no, I think he mentioned Apollo, yeah, because he wants to take the title from him. He's like, I don't want to tag with him. He's got my Intercontinental Championship. And then they're like, yeah, you're going to do this tag team match. And he's like, tag team match, but you just named a 2-on-5 because you only mentioned me and Apollo versus Nakamura, Owens, Big E, and Street Profits. So who are my partners going to be? And then Teddy's like, oh, well, Chad Gable, Otis, Apollo Crews, and King Corbin. So, yeah, 10-man tag for tonight. And after that segment, so Sammy's still trying to get the Intercontinental match. I'm expecting a fatal 4-way, maybe even a 5-way, and adding Nakamura, because he was the only other really singles competitor in that 10-man tag.
I'm okay if they don't, though, because I want Nakamura to help Cesaro try and beat Roman.
Yeah, that's a great point, too. I just want Nakamura and Roman to interact at all for the title, because I really have wanted that match ever since Shinsuke got screwed out of that one gauntlet. But regardless, we get Reigns and the Usos backstage, and Jimmy lets Roman know, like, listen, I'm not gonna, be your bitch like my brother. I'm nobody's bitch. I'm not gonna kiss your ass like my brother Jay, and more or less telling Roman I'm not afraid to speak my mind. Whatever. I kind of thought this might happen. I honestly thought it was going to happen in the ring in the first segment when he returned, but they just kind of kept the solidarity and everything, at least on the surface.
Well, and to be fair, they kept that segment about his return. They don't actually try and define what his role is going to be in that segment. They just say, hey, everyone, Jimmy's back.
Exactly. So Jimmy kind of flexing here. I expected it. It's just great to see him. And all I'm thinking is, and all Jay's got to be thinking is, bruh, I tried it. It doesn't end well. Like, desist right now, dude. Because this ain't going to end well for you. I want to have to clean this shit up. But regardless, yeah, Jimmy talking back to Roman. And then after that, we get Ruby Riott versus Carmella. We already talked about it. Ruby deserves better. She loses to the Code of Silence.
So frustrating. And the worst thing is, Carmella tries cheating. Liv helps the ref catch her, distracts her, and it still don't mean shit because she still catches Ruby in the Code of Silence, and Ruby taps almost instantly.
Yep. Hate it. Hate everything about it.
Yeah, dude, I literally typed in the Discord in the live wrestling discussion. Goddamn, Liv. Oh, it's Carmella. Well, here's to hoping Ruby wins, I guess. Not expecting it, though. Carmella, can you sell, please? Just act like getting your face slammed into the turnbuckle hurt a little. Jesus Christ. Hate. That was my thought process throughout that match.
All right. Well, definitely relatable.
Yeah, because Carmella, at one point, Ruby did that move where she does like the head scissors and then slams her opponent's face into the middle turnbuckle. And as soon as she left the corner, Carmella was back up and trying to take swings at her. Like, Carmella did not sell it at all. That was some Charlotte shit right there. That was unacceptable in my mind.
Yeah, that was really awful. You should kind of treat your opponent's offense a bit better than that. Then again, what do we know? So that was that match. Really sucks for Ruby Riott fans that this woman just can't seem to get anything, even though she deserves everything. And speaking of another woman that deserves everything, we get a Bayley promo. Yes, she has her match with Bianca at WrestleMania Backlash, and I'm going to give the floor to you. You having that reaction. How'd you feel about this?
This might have been my favorite segment on the entire show. Other than main event, like the final segment with Roman and the Usos and Cesaro and all that stuff, like this is definitely my favorite segment on the show. Bayley just talking about how great she is and the Smackdown women's title reign that she had and how legendary it was, and then starts talking about, because it is a throwback Smackdown, the women legends of the past. She talks about Alundra Blaze, Jacqueline. She brings up Molly Holly, Lita, Trish Stratus, Ivory. I hope I'm not missing anyone that she mentioned. And basically, as she goes through all of these legends, she talks about how great they were, but how they don't stack up to her. And then the last one that she shows is Bianca, and she says she's going to be a lot like those women, not as good as me, basically. And she talks her shit on Bianca and, mentions how, she's got this smile, but if you look in her eyes, you see insecurity and stuff like that. And then Bianca's music hits. She comes out. She talks her shit to Bayley. I think Bayley goes for a leg pick, and Bianca just fucking throws her. And then I don't remember exactly how it happens, but at some point Bayley Oh, it was when Bianca pulled one of her earrings off and was going to get the other one, and Bayley went over and just grabbed it and like grabbed her ear and her earring all in one hand. And that gave Bayley complete control over Bianca because let's be real, if somebody has a hold of your ear and something attached to a hole in it, you're not going to resist them. So Bayley got a physical advantage over Bianca that way, and it eventually led to her hitting the rose plant on Bianca and then walking away and laughing while walking away, even though she was like holding her chest and like heavy breathing, like very clearly struggling. She kept that mask on, like that was easy, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was just brilliant television, honestly.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. You recapped it perfectly. Bayley continues to be on top of her game. I know it won't happen, but I think she 100% deserves to main event Mania next year. I only say it won't happen because I'm really afraid WWE is going to go back to a single night. And if they do, I think it might be a minute before the women main event WrestleMania again. And that really sucks.
Maybe if Becky comes back, they'll have a shot.
Maybe, because Bayley's been working her ass off. Granted, I mean, Sasha and Bianca did as well when they did it this year, and they absolutely deserved it. Yeah. I just feel like Bayley's been on top of her game. She deserves a really top primo pay-per-view spot. So yeah, I love this. And a great way to make Bianca look vulnerable without like making her unbelievably vulnerable. Just because, you know, she is the ST and she has that kind of gimmick.
You know, one match that I could legitimately see main eventing a one-night WrestleMania for the women is if they somehow managed to figure out a way to get both champions in one match, maybe a unification match, maybe like you have an ambiguous end to a Royal Rumble where it's one Raw person and one SmackDown person, and they both think they're entitled to a WrestleMania main event shot, and they both challenge their respective champions, and we end up with 4 women who should be in the WrestleMania quote-unquote main event, and it's the 4 horsewomen. That I could see being a WrestleMania main event over even a Roman world title match.
Yeah, that is a good point, man. But
especially if it's for unification. If they're unifying the titles, that's like easy number 1.
Absolutely. But yeah, I enjoyed Bayley's promo here. I enjoyed Bianca's retort. Just a great segment all around. Then we get the Jimmy and Jay backstage segment that you talked about in the opening when we were kind of discussing the highlights of SmackDown. Jimmy putting the idea out there, hey, you and I as tag champions, Roman is Universal Champion, and, you know, but he's also telling Jimmy, hey, I ain't gonna, you know, listen to Roman and do all that crap. You know, you've been the one saving his title. You've been the one making sure he remains head of the table. And, you know, this and that. He said he's been watching a whole year. He knows a thing or two. He says, I genuinely love you, Uso, and I know you love me. If you were to go to Roman right now and ask him if he needs you, he'd say no. Because, he's deluded. So, really interesting.
But I'm telling you, I need you.
Exactly. Yeah, it was powerful stuff, man. I mean, that's the thing. And I'm being dead serious here. I'm not trying to, speak like Roman or whatever, but there was a lot of pressure on Jimmy tonight. This has been a really compelling story. And I think every component you add to it, whether it's just a narrative element, personality-wise, or literally another character, so to speak, in the story, that character's got to carry their weight. And I feel like Jimmy did tonight. Again, I feel like he played more the role as like that last vestige of Jay's conscience. Like, yo, bro, like, you're better than this. You don't need to do this. Roman needs you more than you need him, kind of thing. I really like that. So it was a good backstage segment. After that, oh my God, this is another like thing here. Dolph Ziggler versus Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, dude, yeah, this is the worst segment on the show, other than maybe the Nia Reginald shit.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, maybe it's because I'm stoned off my balls, but this match made me laugh my ass off, especially the finish. Dolph Ziggler, feeling himself, gets up in Dominic's face. This is real. This is really happening. And then he gets cradled for a 3 count, to which I responded to my computer, this is real, Dolph. That really happened.
Yeah, I was like, if real Dolphin, you just got beat by like a 23-year-old punk that you think doesn't deserve a spot, and I agree with you on.
It's so perfect too, because like we know that Dolph has been on like Fox Business, and he definitely seems to like lean right. And I feel like he was kind of trying to, like, this is real Snowflake. We deal in reality here, and then he gets beat. Dolph Ziggler, maybe the most entertaining boomer of all time. Jesus Christ.
That's sad.
God, again, everybody, just only a little longer. I'm not going to level out for a while, though. We got a Tamina and Natalia recap. Good for you, Tamina. Then we get a Reginald interview. It says something about a bad taste in his mouth, and then he's going to drink spirit to get it out. Look, he's a classy motherfucker, all right? Don't question it.
He's French. He's French.
You're damn right he is. We're so fucking good at this. We get Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman backstage. And Roman's just like, bring me my cousin. And Paul Heyman, which, like, if he's like me, and I know I am, is confused as fuck right now. And he's looking at Roman, and with the same energy that I'm feeling right now, he's like,
which one?
Which one? And then Roman just looks at him, and he's just like, I understand. Because he's like, oh man, I might have asked the wrong question. And so he goes to make it right because he's special counsel. And that's
really want that to become a running joke. Paul never fucking learns. Every time Roman wants his cousin, Paul doesn't know which one and asks which one. Roman gives him that look, but he progressively gets angrier that Paul doesn't know. He won't learn.
And if they did do that, it would teach the most important lesson of all. That there's a little bit of Jey Uso in all of us, because Roman's going to beat all of our asses. Alright. After that, we get Tamina versus Reginald. Did anybody give a fuck? I didn't.
God, I really want to like Tamina. They're really trying to get us to like her, and they're really doing a good job for the most part, but this was a severe misstep. This was bad. This is not like... And really, I would say even the promo that she cut on Talking Smack last week did not help her case. Because it was like really bad fake intense to me. Like it seemed like she was trying to be intense too hard, and she was just screaming for the sake of screaming. And it just came off poorly to me. And then you get this, and this was just a fucking disaster. I hated it. I don't want to ever see Reginald wrestle a woman again. And frankly, I don't want to see Reginald wrestle again until he actually gets good at the wrestling part.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and I can't believe I'm saying this unironically, and I can't even blame it on getting high. I really feel like Natalya should have wrestled tonight here, just to kind of preserve the aura that Tamina's kind of cultivated for herself. I want to go out of my way for a second and say I also completely agree with you about that Talking Smack promo. I know a lot of people were raving over it, and I said, no. I really wasn't feeling it. I thought it was fake intense. I'm like, Tamina, listen, why are you so yelly right now? There is no reason to be this yelly right now. You're at a 12. Now, I'm respectfully asking you, if you could turn it down to even an 8, I'd appreciate it. Okay?
Even a 9.
Even a 9. See, that's one whole extra point. I mean, we're not asking you to dial it back that far, but just a smidge. So yeah, I don't think this match did anything for her. It didn't do anything really for the most important person about this whole thing, me, because I was bored and I was tabbed out of it. So yeah, next week they're getting their tag title shot. I'm just hoping the belts change hands, because you know what? I just feel like if we get fresh champions, maybe we're one step closer to getting them on Riot Squad. I'm really obsessed with that. I know it's a problem, but I refuse to let it go, and that's my business. So after that, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. My stream that I was watching this on was like hiccupy as fuck. Like it was just skipping all around and rewinding, and it was just on its shit. So I know Apollo Crews cut a promo, and more or less thematically, it was about how he was going to lead his team into battle. And he
really wanted everyone to look at him as the leader of that team. That was the whole theme.
Yeah. But that was a solid promo, I guess. Then we get the 10-man tag match. I was kind of in and out for this. Did you see much of it? Same. I did see, though, that Corbin pinned Nakamura, and I got to be honest, that was a bad time. Yeah. I'm thinking Caillou has no business. First of all, Caillou has no business, period.
Existing?
Exactly. Like, it's just like, we let the sentence linger, and it's like, business. Oh, just everything. Just everything. But the idea that he pinned Shinsuke, who again, you were talking about, like, because I know I was kind of teasing you today in our starting review, like how worked up you got by introductions, and then we realized, it's Micah's hometown, so it's more like a nod. I will always be worked every time I think about the fact that Shinsuke has, like, never gotten a one-on-one match with Roman, when I feel like he definitely, like, narratively was warranted one. Because he got screwed out of that gauntlet. It still hasn't happened. And not only is that just never going to happen for him, he gets pinned by fucking Corbin tonight. And by the way, I remind you, he gets pinned by Corbin a week after in his little video prediction for Brian Roman, alluding to the fact that he would come for Roman. And you're losing to Corbin. Like, I hate the disconnect. Oh, wow, Javaris, you really let me know, like, hardcore. But at least he gave me 4 hug emojis, so that's understandable. So yeah, like
I love how gently he tried to let you down, though.
It was really thoughtful and beautiful, and
hug emojis. It's so wholesome.
You're beautiful, Javaris. I love you, bro, and that's not just that's not the quarter of a pot cookie talking. That's real fucking shit, dude. But yeah, I mean, Nakamura eats the pin in the tag match. The world is worse for it having happened. I mean, let's check in with you. Your opinion matters. Your face matters. Has your world been made worse because Nakamura ate the pin in this match?
A little bit.
I rest my case. So yeah, that happens. Heels win. Great moment post-match where Sammy goes to touch Apollo's title, and Apollo just looks at Sammy like, motherfucker, if you don't.
Grimy bitch.
Exactly. Then we get Roman and Jay backstage. Roman more or less explaining, like, look, we've been over this. You know what I'm going to say? I'm the tribal chief, all right? Everybody needs to get their shit together right now. But no, what he actually says is, listen, I love your brother. I wanted to give him the same opportunities as you, and I so desperately wanted to know what Jey Uso was thinking while Roman was talking.
Dude, I was, when he said that, I was like, oh, is he going to give Jimmy an opportunity to beat him for the Universal title too? Because that's what he did for Jay.
There actually were 2 moments that I thought that might happen. The first being what you just mentioned, and then the second time I thought it was a moment in the main event segment, which we'll get to imminently here. And he wants to know where Jey Uso stands. So see, now Jimmy's kind of rocking the boat for Jey. Jay's had a good thing here. Roman hasn't really been questioning him the last couple months, I feel like. And now with the emergence of Jimmy, Roman's just like, so Us, you still know your place, right? Well, we're about to find out right now.
Phrasing. Oh. Oh, God.
So then he's like,
what was that?
Let it happen, okay? Stop asking questions.
I'd ask if you were high, but I already know the answer. God damn it.
But, yeah, then we get Roman and Jay in the ring. They're conferencing.
I can hear you tilting.
Calm down. Everything's fine. So, but yeah, Roman, he's talking his shit like, I didn't expect to end the night this way. I didn't expect to end the night with Jimmy Uso looking up at his father figure. It's just like, can't happen this way. It can't happen this way. I am not going to have this all fall apart. Jimmy Uso interrupts him. His music cuts Roman off mid-sentence. Mid. He comes out. He's got his chest puffed out. He's like, oh, say it to my face, Oos. And he starts talking to Jay again, trying to appeal to him. Like, what are you going to do, Oos? Dude, honestly, all signs were pointing for this segment ending with Jay beating the shit out of Jimmy to prove his loyalty to Roman and further fracturing the family. But again, I actually loved what they did so much more, though, which we'll get to that in a second. He actually takes Jay back to Hell in a Cell, that I Quit match. And he says, look, you only lost that match because of me. You quit because of me, because you love me and you didn't want to see me get hurt, right? And we see the video, Jimmy kind of showing his point visually. And then Jimmy makes an interesting claim, and this is the second moment that I thought we might actually do the I Quit match between Jimmy and Roman Reigns, was he said, look, Oos, don't get hot at this, but if I was in your position, I wouldn't have quit. And he more or less says, like, Roman could never make me quit. And I expected Roman to be like, oh, really? Well, why don't we put that to the test? And, they
There was
that whole
also a
matchup.
part of me that was like, damn, bro, you're going to do your brother cold like that? Like, you're telling him to his face that Roman could be torturing him and you wouldn't quit for him. That's fucking mean.
Yeah, if I was Jay, I would have made my decision right there. I've been like, oh, I was actually dealing with a very intense personal inner conflict, but hearing that, bam, super kick, down goes Uso.
Yeah, like, damn,
fucking
dude.
get, bitch.
Jeez.
Yeah, fucking talk your shit about me, fuck you.
You're calling me a pussy for having compassion for you? And you want to tell me to have more compassion for Roman's victims now? What?
Get your face fucked. It's not happening.
That's like the most inconsistent character beat that anyone in this storyline has ever had, I think.
Jimmy really out here and being like, listen, Oos, I love you, but I'm better than you. Like, holy shit. So,
it's
after
more like,
that,
I love you, but I very clearly don't love you more than I love me.
those are the healthiest relationships.
Or really, more than I love that universal, more than I love my own ego.
Oh God, I had just controlled myself, and then the way you said ego tickled things. But after that,
Jesus Christ.
After that, so we get this whole thing, like what's gonna happen? Is Jimmy gonna be his own man, or is he gonna fall in line? Holy fuck. Okay, so then after that, Cesaro comes out. After Jimmy actually walks off. Because Roman's like, hey, I'm not going to do this back and forth with you. You can either fall in line and acknowledge me, or you can go home. And you can explain to your kids while you're there with them, watching the Tribal Chief and the Uso. Jimmy's like, well, man, fuck this. I didn't know I'd have a choice and not get my ass beat. I'm out. And Cesaro then comes out. He starts handing Roman and Jay their asses. And, oh, God. See, it's hard for me to determine indefinitely how I feel about this without seeing the whole story. You know what I mean? It's like trying to judge the parts when you haven't seen the whole. But, I mean, that is kind of what we're supposed to do. And then we just kind of look back on it and be like, oh, well, this wasn't so bad, or that was actually way worse. I don't like that Cesaro ended the show triumphantly here, because he lays out Jay, lays out Roman, with a couple uppercuts, which, look great. Like, the beatdown itself looked great. I just don't like that they did it this way, because I want Cesaro to look more vulnerable. Jimmy, because he sees Jay getting attacked, Roman, he doesn't react. Roman, he's like, whatever. Jay sees getting attacked, he actually springs into action. See, and that's what I love about this story now. It's that Jay is loyal to Roman. I truly believe that. I believe if Roman put a metaphorical gun to his head, like said, hey, if you don't choose me, I'm cutting you off. And then you can explain to your family, like why that is. And then Jimmy's in it because he's loyal to Jay.
Yeah.
So, Jay's loyal to Roman.
That's
Roman's
how I see it too,
himself.
dude. It's like Jay is sort of attached to this idea that as long as he latches his sort of stock to Roman, there's nowhere to go but up. And Jimmy is more like, I'm loyal to my brother. He's my twin. We've had each other's back since we were literally fucking born. And even if I can't drag him out of this mess, I want to be there side by side with him to help him get through this mess.
And so he tries to get the jump on Cesaro.
Yep.
Cesaro lays him out, I think, with Swiss death.
Swiss death almost immediately. It was brutal.
He gets Jay in a neutralizer, and he actually hits Roman with the neutralizer. See, now what I was hoping for was...
Dude, that neutralizer on Jay was real sloppy. I think he gave him a bit of a low blow unintentionally.
Yeah.
Jay grabbed for his groin area after getting hit by it, and he fell really soon, quickly, prematurely. I'm pretty sure Cesaro unintentionally low blowed Jey Uso there, and then he hit Roman with more of a proper neutralizer.
Yeah, oof. But lays Roman out. I was really hoping it'd be the other way around, and that we'd see the loyalty, maybe even with Jay looking a bit conflicted to end the show, because I already don't believe that Cesaro can beat Roman right now at WrestleMania Backlash, right? So, at the very least, I think you'd want Cesaro to look like a bit vulnerable just as a babyface, because he's already got the underdog stench on him, which, to be fair, you could even do this at SummerSlam, he would still be the underdog, because Roman's just been on another level. I don't know. I was just kind of hoping that the Bloodline would stand tall here, but Cesaro does, surprisingly. Lays out everybody. I'm curious who's on the lineup for Talking Smack tomorrow, because I would love to hear Cesaro kind of cut a promo, or maybe even have Jimmy be on the show. You know, I don't know. Or maybe Paul Heyman will just address it himself. We don't know yet. But interesting segment to end the show. I would have done things a bit differently. And again, like I'm a huge Cesaro fan, so it's nothing against him at all. I just want the story to be as compelling as possible. And yeah, that concludes SmackDown. So anything else you want to say about this main event segment?
Nope.
All right, then. Let us get into our next segment, high spots and low shots. And I got to say, my low shot tonight is Seth freaking Rollins loses to Cesaro again, and has got to be even madder this time because this is something more explicit than the weather. This is a full-on super kick to the face. So a loss means that not as many people will embrace the vision, because that vision don't look too great. So who's your low shot tonight?
Dolph Ziggler.
Yes, by getting pinned by a green as goose shit. Well, I mean, he's 23, but
he's actually 24. I looked it up. He just turned 24 a month ago.
He's 24, but by wrestling standards, he's like a fucking child relative to you, Dolph. What the fuck are you doing, bruh? So, I don't blame you there.
Half your age and about 1/20th of your experience.
High spot. Who do I want to go for high spot? Because I could go the low-hanging fruit, but you know what? I'm in such a good mood.
Also, I want to give an honorable low shot out to Ruby Riott. I didn't want to give her my whole low shot because I just feel bad because she doesn't really win matches anymore, unfortunately, but she lost again tonight and it made me sad, so.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, and actually another honorary low shot to Nakamura for eating the pin.
Yeah. I think for high spot I'm going to go Bayley because she got the edge on Bianca, and she had an amazing promo tonight. So
she did. I was gonna go with Bayley for my high spot. So as a sort of audible call here, I'm just gonna keep it simple and make my do I really want to go there? No, I'm just gonna keep it simple. My high spot's just gonna be Roman. Or no, Cesaro. It's Cesaro. He won his match. He got his contendership, and he stood tall at the end of the show. It's Cesaro. That's easy.
Yeah. All right. With that said, guys, this has been Friday Night Smackdown. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinate commentary action. Guys, be sure to like the video as you file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Friday Night Smackdown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Comment down below when this video is done processing. Talk to us. How are you feeling about Roman Reigns and Cesaro and them having a match at WrestleMania Backlash? How do you feel about the return of Jimmy Uso and how they're handling it thus far? Do you think the Usos will become tag team champions again soon? Or do you think that this is just a piece to the broader picture of Jey Uso's singles story with Roman, maybe Jimmy kind of again being the angel on Jey's shoulder to Roman's devil? So give us all your thoughts about Friday Night Smackdown down below. Check out everything we're involved in the description box, including the TWitWoW Patreon and our price breakdowns and our offerings. 2 offerings I always like to highlight. Additional Q&A questions for $1. Currently, as it stands, non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions. But if you donate $1 to the TWitWoW Patreon, that increases by 2 for a total of 5 questions. Of course, I would just donate the total $3 because you get the $1 additional Q&A questions, but you also get for the $3 access to the TWitWoW Discord. Great community, wonderful people, and we do Among Us Mondays. Really fun time. Always like to have a larger party because that just means more suspense, more entertainment. So yeah, be sure to check out our Patreon. Follow us both on Twitter. I'm @John_TWitWoW. He's @Ashton_TWitWoW. And yeah, my pinned tweet is collecting Q&A questions. Again, going back to Q&A. Q&A this month is May 27th. So please get your questions in if you haven't already. Again, final time. Non-Patreon donors only get 3 Q&A questions. Patreon donors get a total of 5 questions. So you're going to want to go to the Q&A hub that is my pinned tweet. Submit your questions there. If not, you can always submit on YouTube or Discord or Facebook. Check out Ashton's pinned tweet. Again, @Ashton_TWitWoW. His pinned tweet is the TWitWoW recording schedule for every month. Obviously, we're in May now. He got the May schedule up today. And just to finish out the week, we're going to be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the May 5th Fukuoka show for Golden Week for Stardom. We're live reacting to that show. 6-match card. Should be a lot of fun. Nobody does it like Stardom does it. And that rounds out the week. All right, guys, with that said, thank you so much for joining us. You're wonderful. I'm going to keep riding this wave because I'm feeling good as fuck right now. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Thank you, as always, for your viewership. And until we see each other again, tune in. Peace out.